What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling a little like the spy today. Hope you guys are channeling the cues just for a little bit. And man, I know yesterday was a trading day, but I'm tired of I'm tired of Monday holidays. I'm telling you, I'm tired of it because I'm off on Tuesdays. So it feels like I've been gone for too long. I feel like I've been gone for too long. It's crazy. But I was hanging out with you guys in the rooms, taking a look at let me see if I can get trading view. Decent move on some stuff in the morning, and it got a little just sideways chop for the rest of the day. So it became a little mundane, a little boring yesterday in terms of what the market was giving us. And yeah, probably a lot of that has to do with the PPI. I was expecting a rather big move today on PPI. We're getting a decent move. Nothing crazy, but on the SPY, key number we really got to watch for is 400. If we could get some closes over 400, that would start to change, I think, the sentiment a little bit of this is just another bear market bull rally type thing. We kind of, let's go to a daily chart, just trading a little bit kind of in this weird channel spot that we just got to try to get out of. Yesterday we got slightly above 400, could not hold it for the day. Today is technically a gap and go, but it's also an inside candle. So PPI numbers came in. They were rather decent, still showing that inflation has been climbing down. Month over month, core PPI climbing down as well. So those numbers are not bad. It's really up to the Fed at this point. Really up to the Fed. But we'll see. I think their rate hike comes on February 1st. So that's going to be their next rate hike, I believe. Cramer is bearish slightly. That is bullish then. Yep. Maloney says Cramer is bearish. Full bull, risk on. That is the bottom indicator. Anytime he comes out, tells everyone to pull all their money out of stocks, you get the biggest rallies ever. We still have holding up as of right now. We still got a little bit of inverse head and shoulders. I know we were looking at this last week, but there's the left shoulder, there's the head, there's the right shoulder. I think we were somewhere about here. Last time I was on the mic, that we were kind of looking at this thing, and we were like, well, could this be the rollover spot as it's pushing into good support? So far, it's not. So far, I pushed right through it. And I think we do continue higher. I'm looking at, we have one more little VPOC on my screen. Let me get that little scribble out of there. But we have one more untested VPOC. And that would lie here. That would lie right about 404, maybe slightly under it. And again, here's our next VPOC that we almost retested, but didn't quite get to yet. So that's going to take us to about, let's see what that one is. That one's sitting around just under 402, so about 401.81-ish. We have huge resistance up in this zone. This is going to be a very crucial inflection point. And again, we did even pre-market. We ran to 400 even on the first pump, got rejected. The second time we did move up to, I think it was $400 and change. It was like let's see. The second move got a slightly higher $400.04. So still very, very strong run at that 400 rate. So we'll see what happens there. Take a look at the cues. Watch Cramer's sleight of hand. Yeah, I don't even know if his charitable trust is, I think his charitable trust, they just buy things, honestly. I don't think if they react off of every time Cramer causes the tops and bottoms, it's either SEC would be just like, sorry, man, this is a rough this is a rough go for you guys, Or if they're crushing it because they do the opposite of what Kramer says, that would be he'd be joining Sam Bankman-Fried, I think. I don't know. I mean, obviously, reverse pumping, dumping. But yeah, no. If Kramer's bearish, that's you could tell it's a little bit bullish. Q, same type of thing. A little bit of inflection point, just really in this channel back and forth at this point, which should act as a very strong resistance. Let's go back to so we are above some key volume. Anything that starts breaking below 279.63 and holding, that would get us a little bit more to the bearish side. Otherwise, next immediate stop is about 285.19. And then probably a little bit of a better one is about 287.33. I'm gonna have to remain bullish on the day. I'm gonna have to remain bullish. The anti-Kramer ETF. That's pretty much just the opposite of Cathie Wood's, I think. It's just if you reverse the Cathie Wood chart, that's probably the anti-ETF for Kramer. We will see. The Tessie. We're in a danger zone for a decent little bullish move. I believe though this should be a retest gap. Yep. So this I would be expecting a little bit of a retest gap. I could probably see the opening candle maybe running green, which I would think to about 138.38. And then I'd be looking for some kind of fade on this one down to about 131.41. All in all, though, we are out of some good volume, right? So we were looking very, very closely at the area of 122.77. As soon as it started getting above that, I mean, again, it's got room to about 155 at this point. And in a much bigger spot over here. I believe earnings come out on the 26th for Tesla, so just be aware of that if you are taking any swings or anything like that. Just know that either before opening your positions or be aware of it as you're in the positions, just in case. But we'll see what happens. Again, that should technically be a retest gap. Was it LUV that was gapping today? Was it LUV or LVS? One of those, maybe both. A little bit of a gap up into resistance on LUV. I would expect that to fade, so I'm not going to go bullish on that one out of the gate. LVS. No, it wasn't LVS, but they've been on an absolute tear as of late. So we'll see what happens on that one. Also, if there's any other tickers that you guys want to take a look at, anything gapping, anything that looks intriguing to you guys, more than welcome, and also encouraged to throw that into the chat as well. Disney looks a little interesting, actually. Yeah. Technically, and again, the problem is all of these things are inside gaps for the most part. After a ginormous little reverse, next target for Disney, I don't know if it happens today, but it could, is probably about just above 104. We're above yesterday's VPOC, so I would expect maybe a little pullback, see if we get it as close as possible to that $100.43 mark, and then see if we can get some kind of rally. We are getting a little extended off that 10 EMA. And when I say a little, I mean like Grand Canyon wise. It's like viewing the Grand Canyon from Mars. We are pretty widely stretched from that 10 EMA. But I will put this a little bit higher on the list. Maybe look for some kind of continuation. Can we look at SCHW? Charles Schwab. That one looks a little different in the market. Charles Schwab. Yeah, this one should be. Was this on earnings? A surprise to the negative side. The only thing with this one I would be worried about is where we bounced previously. So we have two little wicks. Obviously, one of those wicks we are about to break down. So that's not going to be as crazy. This was a decent little pullback. This would then turn into that retest. Got to worry about that 81, 82 zone. Otherwise, yeah, that looks like a decent short. Let me add this one to the list as well. SCHW. That would be a decent looking short opportunity. And let's drive this one all the way back home. Yeah, Goldman was the next one I was going to look at. Maloney, we are on the same page. Ron says MS. Let's look at GS first. Yeah, Goldman Sachs got a little beat up. Could be some room to head to the lower side. I wish we were not really at the levels that we're at now. So we got major levels of potential support. We're going to get a little choppy in the zone. We'd have to start getting, even yesterday's VPOC technically was 348.27, and we're still holding on to that. Pretty big candle. Again, lots and lots of volume. Just into that little resistance spot. Probably I would expect a little bit more chop on Goldman. I thought that was going to be a little cleaner of a chart. MS. Dustin also wants Delta and UAL, so we'll take a look at those. MS technically has this gap that is not filled. That was quite a little move. Obviously, we got some more bullish sentiment. Question is, does that gap get filled? We ran into a lot of volume from yesterday. All that volume is kind of above us now at open. And then again, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs typically move very similar. There would be a sympathy play to each other. They've kind of decoupled a little bit from what I'm looking at. And I could see some kind of, I think Morgan Stanley probably the decoupling from Goldman Sachs to Morgan Stanley could get a little bit more intense. Maybe Goldman has the ability to bring Morgan down a little bit more, try to fill that retest. So MS would be decent for, I'll look for some kind of a fade on that one. Compare symbol. No, I'm going to add this one to the list, throw it up there as well. MS. More than likely, we're going to be fighting the tide on Morgan Stanley. And if Goldman Sachs is at some kind of resistance, I almost rather. I think Morgan Stanley has a little bit more bullishness to it. I'm just worried about that. That's a good rejection spot, and then we maybe could take this thing back down to $93.18. You guys wanted DAL, so we'll take a look at that one. The Delta. We're at a longer term, high volume area. Definitely got all the liquidity above us at this point. But this is, yeah, I'd probably be looking to fade that one down too, Lucian. I would love to get some kind of stop above like 39.90. So if this thing could get any type of bullishness, maybe look for some kind of short, a tad higher. 39.21 would be awesome. And it might be too big of a stop, but otherwise, yeah, the real stop for me would be somewhere around like 39.85-ish. Then we should be able to lower this. So at least on the daily chart, doesn't look great. You're fighting the bulls. I mean, there's been enormous amount of bullishness, but you're coming into some serious resistance. Lots and lots of volume above us, price-wise. And looking for some kind of fade does make some sense. So Delta, we'll keep on the list. We'll see what kind of candles they give us at open. I would love to see either enormous green candle or probably some kind of green high wave would be great. And then UAL as well. Probably going to be a little similar. Just, I mean, every day is bullish. Just, is this thing allowed to go down? I'm not sure. We got to check the rules. I'm not sure if this is allowed to. This is going to be a tough one to fade too. This is technically a retest gap. After a massive win, I expect people to take profits. But look where we're opening. If we open up here, we're above the peak. Even on a fade down, that would be a full retest going all the way to about 51.33 if we get rejected. To the higher side on this one, start to look for maybe that selling pressure to come in around 53.68. But we are on the other side right now of just a massive amount of different pockets of liquidity. So you really have two more spots on this one. That's going to be like around this 53.74-ish. And then the last hope for the bears is to hold this thing and bring it back down around 55.95. Smack in the middle again. This should be a retest gap, but where that thing is gapping, I'm not necessarily sure that's going to be an easy short by any stretch of the imagination. Hector's in the house. What is up, Hector? Apple AAPL. We got B in YouTube land talking like Yoda. Sell the news, you should. I mean, if Yoda gonna tell me to sell the news, I should probably just sell the news. We got Apple, little bit of a gap up. Should also, this is an inside day for right now. I would not be buying this thing at open. I'll probably see if we get some kind of a fade first. It does look good for probably some continuation. We're above some kind of key levels, but the next real spot for me on Apple is going to take me to about 141.13. So if we can buy some kind of a pullback, let's put this a little bit higher on the list too, so we get that initial pullback on this one. If I can find it on the list, oh, there it is. Yeah, so we got some interesting gaps, some cute gaps. AMD is green. This is one of the strongest rallies opening the year that we've seen in a while. I've heard some people call it generational rally. It's kind of, I don't know. We have to close it, but we have to get above that 400 though. If we can get above that 400, I think that's going to start changing the opinion of some of the bears that are holding us down, or at least bring a little fear into the bears for the rally to really continue. But yeah, the next stop comes probably 413-ish, 410, 413, and then off to the races. But yeah, lots of green candles on AMD. NVIDIA had a stronger day than AMD yesterday, so maybe we get more continuation in a strength direction on NVIDIA than we do AMD. AMD probably target, if we do continue bullish, 73.68. However, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this would be technically an area that I would be like, if I have shares, I'm going to be looking for some kind of cover call on NVIDIA. It's just very difficult to step in front of the bulls. There's the day we had on NVIDIA. Even this one, I'd still probably think we get some kind of continuation, but I'd be looking for maybe 180.01, 180.73, and then we get that little pivot rotation down, at least for a retest. I'm sitting on 3 months of deposits for the long term that I have not applied to stocks, and right now I just can't. Like, so be it. Let it run, let it get crazy. I just can't buy after that many green days in a row. Zim, I don't know. I feel like we've traded Zim before, but honestly, it was so long ago. Man, that does look like a cute gap. We got to get past 1872. But even honestly, where we're opening now, still a retest. So wait for that little bit of a pullback. Nice close yesterday above decent volume candle. Little bit of a channel we're in. Buying that pullback on a retest. This one I think does retest. That's a nice little gap though. We did not check out Google. The stock that should not be named. Claim the 100. I don't care about the 100 on the daily. I care about that $100 price target. That's it. GOOG. Most things are above the, or some things are hitting that 100, starting to get slightly above it. Most things I'm looking at are above the 10 at least. Google looks very, very interesting. Google does look interesting. Make sure I add this one to the list. Might be one of my favorites of the day. GOOG. And this is where like trading and valuation become two different things. Google, I think, honestly, I want to drop a little bit more in a valuation standpoint. On a trade basis, though, it looks interesting. Let me see if I get this a little bit higher. We'll go keys. I guess I got to delete some of these things. My list is getting too long. But yeah, that's a nice gap and go. You're above a lot. It's got a ton of range up to about 96.50, we'll call it. Probably shave some shares around 95.21. But that's got some good range. Technically, it's a gap and go above what looks to me like tweezers. This one looks like it's number one on my list. 923. Let's see if we could cut a little deeper into yesterday's time frame. See if we could have any type of. I don't really have a real range on this thing. Let's take a look at some pre-market ranges. See if we get ready for at least what we want to happen, whether it happens or not on Google. Two different things. GOOG. There's a opening candle. We got a lot of. All right, so now let's throw a fib up here. Since we have quite a decent amount of, so we're looking at like 92. Let's see what this looks like. 92.48. Attempt to throw some kind of order out there. 92.48. That's us buying it off the 50. Stop on this one. Let's throw it down to like, I don't know. Let's put it at the 78, 92.04. All right. $92.04. Is that decent? Let's go $92 even. Instead, 0.0. You want to go a little wider, Hector, on that stop or no? I'm just picking that as a 78. Honestly, we should be holding that 618. If you do want to go a little bit lower, we'll probably be looking for like 91. We have a lot of room in this thing. 91.90. Let's go with that. Let's see what those numbers look like. For 2 hours, we need 93.64. And again, we said we have a lot of room. So my personal day trade, again, we'll try it. We'll put it out there. We'll see what that opening candle, if it doesn't fill us, we'll see what kind of candle it gives us, and then maybe have to adjust the order. But by 91.90 on GOOG. Throw this one out in Slack. We still got 4 minutes. BE8, beautiful. We'll get this on official day trades. Goog versus Google with the L. The biggest difference is that there's an extra letter, tougher to type. It has to do with like common stock and something like that. Yeah, voting shares, voting rights. I'm not planning on being in this thing long enough to vote, to be honest. So, all right, we got this one out there. Minimum, I'm going for 2 hours, but there's a lot of room. We'll see how this plays out. Obviously, we got to get filled first. If we don't, that's all good too, and we will cancel and refocus. But for right now, that looks decent. We're even our stop is below this VPOC, and we're trying to catch it only if it comes back. It is a gap and go, might not happen. We'll see. And yeah, we'll try to catch a early morning play. Got it in the broker, and we are set. Hector says, thoughts on STM? Wow, there's a gap. Technically it's a gap and go. That's a pretty big gap, to say the least. You do have a little bit, you have one real area of concern, which would be somewhere around 43.60. If that breaks, though, it could take you potentially up to 44.74. That's a relatively big gap after another, again, and technically it is gap and go. Some volume came in yesterday, nothing too crazy. There's a lot of people that probably are profitable on this gap. So I don't know if I want to be the first one to jump in bullish, see if we get some kind of a little bit of retest, even though it is a technically a gap and go. I would just wait for maybe a little bit of a pullback. Agnes says Google also has the Momo buy. All right, I'm going to risk 12 hours. Jennifer's in on a Google with the L swing. Okay. I don't know, actually, Jason. I don't know how the wash sale thing. I would imagine it's the same company, but technically it's a different ticker. I really don't know how wash sale effects works on Google without or with the L. Maybe if I don't know if Thomas Wong's in the house, but he might know on that one. Let me get the chart just real quick on Google, and since I got 20 seconds left. All right. We'll see if we get that initial little entry. And it could open and just take a nosedive, but I got all day to make it back, so it's not too bad. All right. That sound of the bell, unfortunately, is the sound of us having to disconnect from YouTube land, but don't worry, you guys can hang out with us all day. Just head over to reallifetrading.com. We have all access pass. You guys could see what we're trading, understand why we're trading it. We also have all the free education online as well for you guys. You guys are more than welcome to take that. And I believe on the 23rd, I think that's next week. On the 23rd, we do have free week, and that would also give you the opportunity to hang out with us and check us out a little bit more thoroughly. Otherwise, you guys are absolutely incredible, and we